Welcome to NFL Daily, where we've got a flag football extravaganza. I'm Gregg Rosenthal here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio next to flag football expert. I don't know if she's going by that these days.
Novice trying to become an expert by the Olympics.
More of an expert than me. Jourdan Rodrigue, who has helped to put together this program and our esteemed guests on this program. And we're starting the show with them. We've got Rudy Fernandez, defensive coordinator, assistant coach of the USA football men's national team. We also have Mike Daniels, defensive back that does it all on the field. We're going to get into what both of these men do on the field and obviously as a coach. But just to introduce for the listeners, this is a long gestating idea from Jourdan here and from like a growing sport that we are trying to cover and wrap our minds around here at NFL Media, and I'm excited. Are you ready, Jourdan?
Yeah, understatement, me being fired up. I've been so excited about this, you guys. I went to see some of the summer series last year. I've written about this sport at theathletic.com. I'm so excited about the potential here, and then also about you guys representing us in the LA Olympics. I know we got a long way to go between now and then when flag football makes its debut in the Olympics, but I know I speak for a lot of people, like millions of people internationally who are such big fans of this sport. And our listeners and our viewers really love getting in the weeds on stuff. I knew I could trust our listeners on being interested in this topic because we like to get granular. We like to understand things. We like to explain things. Gregg really likes to explain things. And so we're so stoked to have you guys here today to help us understand flag football a little bit more.
I'll start with you, Rudy, because so you're a coach, and I'm looking at flag football right now. You can just assume I'm a novice. And a lot of the listeners, I think, in general, are going to be relative novices. And so for those of us, and I've started to get more familiar, I've obviously read it. I watched, you guys destroy the pros a little while back. We can get into that. But for novices, it's a big picture question, but what do you think the new fans to the sport or people that don't know much about it should know about it the first time they're kind of getting introduced to it?
Oh, entertaining and fast-paced.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the big thing is how fast-paced it is, how entertaining it is. And it's a game to just show off your skills, right? You're receiving, you're throwing, the way you cover. It's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of skill to be able to play the flag football at a high level.
The thing that I find so interesting about the better you get at this is we know flag football is an offensive sport. They love points. Mike, you're a defensive player, man. So I think for you, I know it's a point of pride that at this level, some of the nuances of defense and the skill players on defense are just as strong as some of the things that you guys see in the passing game.
Yeah. So like you said, the biggest thing, the game is revolved around offense, being excited and scoring a lot of points and doing everything like that. That's why as defensive players, we take a lot of pride in slowing those guys down and stopping them. And our offense is really, really good. So if we can get 1 or 2 stops a game, 9 times out of 10, we're probably going to win that game. But we take so much pride in our craft and everything that we do and the schematics and everything, preparing for a team. We don't want a team to score. Right, so if a team scores on us, we get really, really upset, even when we're not really supposed to. Coach does a good job at keeping us calm. It's okay, fellas. They're gonna score. They're gonna do this. And I hate when he says that because I'm so competitive. I'm no, they're not. They're not supposed to score. I don't care what the game is supposed to be for, whatever. I don't want them to score. If we can leave the game 100-0, I'm happy.
I love that. I'm curious for novices watching for the first time. What are a couple of things that people who are going to be watching your games, first of all, internationally here coming up, Worlds is in Germany coming up. You guys will be playing in that. But what people can watch when they're trying to know what they're looking at? What are some basics on both sides of the ball? Rudy, we'll start with you. What do people need to see to understand this sport?
So one thing people need to understand when they watch it for the first time is it's not 10 yards to a first down, right? You start 5 yards from the end zone. Then you have 20 yards to get to midfield. And you have 4 plays to do it, and then 4 plays to score after that. And then right before the end zone, there's a no-run zone where you have to throw the ball. And that's always, something that people that watch tackle football always ask. You're in the red zone. Why aren't you running the ball? Well, you can't, right? It becomes too simple to score from the 1 yard line with a run.
The DBs probably love this role.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plays on the ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think for adults who have kids, there's going to be a generation of people like myself because it's such a growing sport. You know, there's 20 million people playing flag all over the world now, and they're making it like a varsity sport, especially for girls in a lot of states and everything. And a lot of our kids are now growing up playing flag, and so we're starting to actually understanding like those sorts of rules. But I do think if you're just like an NFL fan who hasn't had much exposure to it as a player, Mike, like, and you're watching it for the first time, and we can get into what happened when you played the NFL players, but what are some of like the skill sets you think just from a first place watching it? Because I realized pretty quickly like how little I understand about what's going to make teams better, players better compared to tackle football.
Yeah, so the biggest thing about, skill set wise is there's a lot more, not taking anything away from like traditional football, but there's a little bit more finesse that goes into flag football because the rules and intricacies are a little bit different. So you have to learn how to be elite within the system of of flag football. So there's the biggest rule of them all. There's a lot less contact than there is in traditional football. So you're telling me as a defender, I have to cover in a very fast, very elite route runner with really good hands and a really wide range to catch a football. How am I going to stop that guy? Within playing in the rules of the game. So there's a lot of finesse that comes into it. So there's a lot of like things you have to do in your craft to learn how to mirror somebody and be able to cover them, to the point where they're not making as many catches or they're not as open as they should be. It's tough. That's why I said earlier, like, we take a lot of pride in stopping and slowing down these really, really good offenses.
Yeah, you can't bump when you press. When you press, you can't really press. Right, Rudy. How does that change how you call a game as a defensive coordinator?
Well, going in, we do a lot of practice, so we know there's not a lot of contact.
Yeah.
So we work a lot on defending with our feet, right? Just true fundamentals of football as a defensive back. You do a lot of coverage with your feet, staying in front, on a man turn, how you open your hips, on a zone turn, just a lot of those things. And these athletes, they put so much work into getting better at flag football because a lot of them, like Mike, were so skilled at tackle. And I mean, Mike's a killer, right? He loves contact. So he had to train himself and kind of almost learn to play defensive back in a different style to fit flag football.
Yeah, it reminds me a little, like I very, very briefly covered Arena League football. And Arena League football was similar in the way that, like, if you can get 1 or 2 stops a game, it weirdly made defense more important than offense in a way. Do you ascribe to that as a defensive coordinator?
Oh, yeah. Defense wins championships, right?
I mean, it kind of did feel that way, though, too. If you had a defense and get 2 stops, a week, as you're saying, or whatever it's going to be, then that can be the difference.
Yeah,
everyone has a good offense.
I have to say, too, watching the tournament games against the pros, like, some of the most fun plays to watch. I know you guys are such a powerhouse on offense, but there are some high-profile interceptions in that game, for example, and just really great plays on the ball and great reads. And I can't wait for the listeners. We're going to break down some tape a little bit later, and really excited for you guys to lead the way with us on that. When you are thinking about what Rudy just said, translating certain skills, you were a tackle football player. You played at collegiate level at West Virginia, Mike. And so translating those skills, first, what that was like for you, retraining certain elements of your game, not just on the field, but away from the field, some of your off-season training, those types of things, what skills you had to develop, and follow up as well. Rudy, like, how do you continue to coach that all the way through this professional level?
Okay, so within traditional football, there's a plethora of ways that you can cover a guy, right? There's a million ways you can skin a cat. So within playing man-to-man versus someone, there's a technique called off-man coverage, right? Which is what you see 98 or 99.9% of the time in flag football because there's no contact. So you don't see a lot of guys crowding the line of scrimmage, right? So you're playing off for the most part. So it's still off-man technique, but there's no, like you said, at the top of the route, there's no bump anymore. So how do I slow this guy down when his momentum is already probably at 80 to 85% speed by the time he gets to me? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like Coach Rudy said, your feet you have to have really, really good feet, really, really good hips, really, really good eyes. And you have to train them to respond a lot quicker than that of traditional football, because flag football, the throws are shorter and quicker, right? In traditional football, someone may run a dig at 15 to 20 yards. In flag football, that dig is being ran at about 8 to 10 now.
Because the field is so much
It's
smaller.
so much smaller. So those routes are shorter and faster, and you don't have as many steps to make up in flag football than that of traditional football, because one step can cost you. In traditional football, you may get a step or two. Ball has to travel maybe 20 to 25 yards depending on the route that's ran. You may have a couple steps to get back in phase with the receiver, and you can create a little bit of contact and, get a pass breakup. In flag football, it's completely different. Like, how am I going to get a pass breakup without creating contact?
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is, even if the receiver catches the ball and he's extended away from his body, I'm not allowed to come through and break up the ball
No
anymore.
punches.
You can't do any of that.
Wow.
Once that ball touches his hand, it's either up to him to drop it for the incomplete pass, or I just have to, rely on pulling the flag at that point. So it's a lot quicker. It's a little bit tougher, but that's why, like I said, I always go back to, we take so much pride in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we hold ourselves to like a super high standard that we continue to thrive, and we continue to get these stops and things like that. We make it look easy, but people don't understand what goes on behind closed doors to get things like that done.
Yeah, we should take it back. I love that we've just dove right into like the schematics, and we're going to. But just for some context, why are you here in Southern California, by the way?
So we're here in Southern California.
Besides for our show, just
Yeah.
Well, other than that, we're here. We have training camp this week in Chula Vista. So we'll be in Chula Vista till Friday, and then we have our summer series on Friday afternoon. We play Canada.
Okay.
So should be a lot of fun.
So it's some exhibitions in the summer out here, and then you're prepping for the IFAF World Championships. That is in Germany later this summer. Of course, the LA Olympics 2028. Everyone's seen, the Jalen Hurts ad of him, throwing the ball into the Coliseum, and like that. It's happening. It is 2 years away as an Olympic sport. Like when you first started in flag, could you have imagined that like you would be doing like the Olympics on home soil like this soon?
No. So I've been involved in flag since 2003. I've been involved for a long time, and I never saw it get into this level. It's I think I can speak for me and Mike. I mean, we're living our dream in flag football, something that the opportunities we're getting you can only dream of. We're going to Germany to play in the World Championship against many other countries' best flag football teams. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
And are you the favorites? Like, do you consider
Yes.
yourselves the favorites?
Yes.
Do you feel a little extra weight with the USA football shirt on? Just that, like, okay, that's our sport. We better represent.
I'm a little bit different. The way I wire myself, I go in as an underdog, mainly because it keeps me hungry. I'm going out there to hunt. That's just my mentality. I just want to hunt. I don't care what the naysayers are saying. I don't care if we are the favorites. I'm going to play as an underdog. That's just me personally.
We can just talk trash and say you're not the favorites and just
That's
be
fine.
like, watch out for that German team. Like, they don't mess around.
I love it because though we saw this a little bit last year at the summer series. Like some of the teams are still very much figuring out how the sport works, and some of the teams are watching you guys, watching your plays, watching your concepts, and so you're sort of outrunning innovation of your own creation here. At the same time, I'm curious, how much better have all these other teams also gotten as the sport has continued to grow?
They've gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better. And, the gap is closed, right? It was a big gap, and the gap's closed because other countries are investing time, effort, and money into the programs. So they've definitely gotten better. And, like Mike said, we stay hungry. We try doing new things every year because the truth is everyone's watching us and we get mimicked, right? So we're just trying to stay one step ahead. it's hard. It's hard to be a dynasty. That's why it's not doesn't happen very often.
I love that word for you guys because it is true. It's very true, and I think the world is going to get to see it on a global stage here very soon. Right down the street. We hope you guys are playing at SoFi Stadium down the street.
So do we.
I don't want to shade this team, okay? So I won't say, but one of the teams I watched last year competing against you guys in an exhibition was converted rugby players for the most part. So they take the field, and maybe minus you, Mike, because you played DB and you're what, 6 foot, 200,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So that's what your roster page said. So that's what we're going with.
Accurate.
But you're tall, and you're very tall and not as slight as some of your teammates, right? So I would say you're on more on the bigger side of flag players, at least for Team USA. These guys were converted rugby players. They took the field against you guys, and it was looked like it was shaping up to David versus Goliath, at least on paper. And then you guys just started running circles around them, and it was very clear that maybe some of the rugby qualities weren't quite converting over. So I'm curious, what traits do convert over the best? You've obviously found a way to apply your tackle skills and your abilities at the highest level in flag, but what are the traits that best carry over to the way you guys want to play flag football?
So, in my opinion, there's to be an elite flag football player, there's a very unique set of skills that you have to possess. Like offensively, there's different. It differs from defensively. So I'll speak more so on the defensive side of the ball. Like I think two of the biggest things that helped me transition over to flag football a little bit faster than maybe some other traditional football players. Like I said earlier, the off man, like being able to cover someone playing off the ball compared to putting hands on them and pressing them, it helped me a little bit better because it's like, okay, I can't touch you, fine, I'm used to it. Like I've done it plenty of times before, so I'm used to it. And also hand-eye coordination when it comes to stopping the offensive players, forward progression to be able to snatch a flag at full speed. That is a very unique skill. It's not something that can be taken lightly because in traditional football, how do you get a tackle? Tackles aren't easy to make. That's a required skill to be an elite defender. So in flag football, playing at the highest level against all these very talented guys, no matter what country it is, you have to possess a certain unique set of skills. You can't I don't care who it is. It can be U.S. players, international players. If you're just gonna try to just walk into the sport and be like, oh well, I've done good in, let's just say, rugby. I'm pretty fast, I can carry a ball and I can make some people miss and do that and that and so forth. You're gonna struggle in flag because you have to be elite within these set of rules, not rugby. So it's a little bit different. Not to shade the NFL guys at all, but I think they had their wake up call as to oh, this is a little bit different.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah, those guys were telling us yeah, it's not what we thought it was, and that's that's the only message we want to get across. It's not what everyone thinks it is. I think a lot of people are just it's football at the end of the day. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
It's a spheroid.
A spheroid or object that we use, but the rules and the little intricacies and skill sets are a little bit different. That's what separates the game from NFL pros and pro flag football players. That's the only thing that we wanted to get across. So yeah, it requires a very unique skill set.
Yeah, Rudy, you're on some of the talent ID stuff too. I mean, I know you're on the circuit. You're looking for the next guys and women who are coming up and playing this sport at the highest level. I saw a move, I think it was Isaiah Calhoun did it at the summer series, and it was my first time in person ever seeing a hip drop.
Okay.
It blew my mind. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Matthew Stafford throw a no-look pass, I said some curse words, right? But that, I don't understand how the human body can do that, frankly, at full speed. To explain to the listener, at full speed in order to avoid getting his flag pulled at one of the summer series exhibition games last year, Isaiah Calhoun was the ball carrier after a catch or an interception. Interception, yeah. And basically at full speed dipped his hips. So I compared it to when motorcycle racers go around a curve.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the way to the ground, but his feet were just still going and avoided the flagpole. How do you ID that? How do you find that? I don't understand.
Yeah, so we're looking for quickness, fast twitch. Right? Like it's really hard for like a rugby player to transition, right? But if you got maybe, like a striker in soccer or a forward in lacrosse, they already kind of have that fast twitch, going. So that's really what we're looking for, is that fast twitch and that flexibility. Because what these guys do, quick funny story, when we were playing the pro guys, Luke Kuechly came off the field and he was like, "Do you guys even have kneecaps?" Because the way they were doing the hip drop, and I was laughing on the sideline because he's like, "If I did that," but it's what they do, right? They practice it. And yeah, definitely. If you do a hip drop in tackle football, you're gonna get your head taken off.
Yeah, and then you hear a lot of popping because the kneecaps just burst into flames in that
right
in that moment. That's amazing.
In that game, do you think it was more, from your perspective, in those games against the NFL players, do you think it was more the offensive players or the defensive players that were like struggling more to adjust to match up with your guys?
I think the biggest adjustment, what they had the most hard time with, was with flagpoling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the hardest part.
Yeah.
We got Pablo and Vout and Hoosh. They're only about 5'7", 5'8". They're running full speed and they hip drop and their knees are like half an inch off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they weren't ready for that.
Immediately, everyone's gonna kind of think too, because now I think people understand how talented you guys are with USA football, and we'll see. Like obviously, the tryouts for the Olympics team that hasn't happened yet. That's in the future, but it seems like the best players are going to be flag, and yet you can imagine the idea that you would want to have some pro player potentially make the team, or if they can earn their spot. Is there any players that stand out to you that have a skill set from the NFL? It's the type of skill set that translates the flag at all?
I got one.
Yeah.
Brashard Smith from the Kansas City.
Okay.
So he actually played flag football in my program in Miami when he was 10 to 14 years old. And like, he's unbelievable in flag, right? Like that kind of skill set, kind of like a scat back, like a Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Maybe like a power
He's
back.
a running back that played wide receiver, literally. So he's already kind of a little lower to the ground and stuff, and the quickness.
I'm a purist though, because I like the guys they got.
Right. I have a feel like that
I'm
might not happen at all. It just crossed my mind if anyone stuck out to you.
But I feel like this is the time where, explain this to us. You guys are narrowing this down. This is 2 years from now. And so this upcoming Worlds tournament, this is one of those tournaments that does qualify other international teams for the Olympics, although you all have already secured your berth in the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. So like, what is the training like? A lot of people don't know that you guys balance a day job, for example, with all of this training and what the timeline is. Can you kind of let the listener in on what they should be looking for, tentpole events and things like that coming up?
Yeah, so in terms of training, just to get a little bit off topic, I want to say this before I forget.
We love that on our show, by the way. Go for it.
Before I forget. So what a lot of people, I think, take for granted is our preparation that we put into competing. I think the hardest thing for me, and from my perspective, and I'm sure my teammates can attest to this as well, but we really go at each other in practice. Like, we really compete. And I think that, like, when you have iron sharpening iron, like, no one's ever content. Like, we may go out there and we may be, we play with a lot of confidence because we prepare. We really go hard. And I've played traditional football on a few teams. I had the pleasantries of, making it to the NFL level and practicing with those guys as well. But when I tell you, I've been around elite preparation, and this is like, the way we prepare is like top notch. Like, when we compete, like, you have a team full of competitors. No one wants to lose. And like I told you before, I don't want to give up a touchdown. I don't care, regardless of what the game says that the offense is supposed to do. I don't want these guys to score. And then being that the juggernaut that our offense is, like, I feel like if we can stop them consistently, we can stop anybody in the country. So it's like, when we, like, that preparation right there, I love it because I'm very, very competitive. So I know that if I can dial in on this and just really go at it with my offense and, get some stops here and there and make those guys struggle, when we go into competition, it's going to be that much easier. Not saying that the other teams won't be prepared, but man, we're just give us your best. We're ready. Is all I'm saying.
It's like the NBA Dream Team when they were practicing up against each other. Like it wasn't going to get any harder than it was in practice leading up to those Olympics. Thinking about like the schematics of it all, this is something where I know you guys are going to get into it, and Jourdan alluded to it, but for our audio audience who's listening to the podcast, everyone go check out the videos that we're going to be putting out. They'll be on our YouTube channel. We'll get them out on socials and everything too, but especially on YouTube where Jourdan's going to go through some plays with you guys, and you can help explain like how flag football really works. Because we like on this show to kind of understand the game, intellectually as well as just like enjoying it. But for our audience that's listening to this show here, I am curious as a coach, like how the schematics of the sport have evolved, and what are some of the things that like a new fan can kind of look for in terms of like the schematic approach of where flag football is now and how it's different?
Yeah, so the
big
game,
question.
Yeah, it is. The game has completely changed the last few years, especially defensively. 3 or 4 years ago, everybody was playing really just 2, maybe 3 different defenses, a variation of a cover 2, cover 1, and then a cover 0 man, right? Now it's changed. Like we're at the point with USA that we almost call our defense like an offense. We're changing each play, right? The concepts are very similar, but if we're playing the cover 2, who's dropping? Sometimes we don't do a traditional drop. Maybe we'll bring the safety down into the box, right? Kind of go invert. So it's just really changing because our whole goal is take the quarterback's first read away, right? Our rusher is, his name is Flash, right? Obviously he's fast.
Good name for a rusher.
Yeah. I always tell him, right? We want Flash, not Barry Allen, right? So we always say if our defensive backs take away the other quarterback's first read, then our rusher gets to get to work. Because in flag football, the rusher's 7 yards away and he can't be impeded. He has a straight line to that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what we do, schematically is what we try to do is give the quarterback different looks, take away their first read, and then let Flash do what Flash does.
I think what a lot of people will be surprised by too when they watch, and pleasantly surprised, I would say, for novices learning about the game, is you guys do a lot of at-snap rotations of your coverages, and there's so much spatial manipulation on both sides because obviously when you change mathematically, they have outlets for it or they have rules for what they want to do, just like in tackle football, offense, defense, colliding. But it has gotten so much more complex to your point where you're able to move guys around at and post snap in ways guys are passing coverages off. Guys are doing all kinds of things that really dictate the space of what an offense can do. And I love that because flag football is happening so fast. That's what I love about this is I like to call it a game of speed, math, and space because you're basically designing equations against each other just like how you would in traditional, in a lot of sports really, but it's happening so much faster and the processing has to be so much faster for that reason.
Yeah. So what we like to do, and I love it, like when Coach Rudy came aboard and we kind of had a talk about, the things that he wanted to do. He was like, man, we think a lot alike. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I love it. I can't wait to start implementing this stuff and we can start doing it because my biggest thing is, like I said before, I don't want the offense to score. The more they struggle.
If we're going to remember one thing about Mike Daniels on this show, it's
offense is not supposed to score. That's my rule, right? But I like to disguise a lot of stuff. Like we may play like the same traditional calls every other team is playing, but we may disguise it a little bit different. I want to play chess with the quarterback. Like I don't want him coming to the line of scrimmage like, oh, I know they're in 3-1. I know they're in 2-2. I know they're in 2-1 because this is what everyone does when we line up like this. Everyone does the same thing. We may still be playing that same coverage, but we may disguise it a little bit. So now he's thinking like, okay, Hud, is this really? Oh, no, it's not that. Oh, it is that. It's too late. Like he said, like Flash is one of the fastest guys on our team, if not the fastest guy. Like he can run a 20-yard sprint in under 3 seconds, well under 3 seconds. So it's like, if I'm a DB, I love that because if you're telling me I only got to cover for like three seconds max, like, oh man, that's you you relax me a little bit, and now I'm more eager and more the percentages of me making a play a lot that much higher. That's just the little stuff that the little things I do in my head pre-snap. But I'm just like, if we, like Coach Rudy said, if we can take that first read away, the offense is in trouble because our rusher is right up on you now. And now you have to make a decision. Are you going to take a sack? You're going to try to evade, which isn't all that easy, right? Not saying it's impossible, but it's not. It's pretty difficult to evade when you got a pretty good rusher and a flag puller. And now, what if your guys aren't open? Because on the back end, we're giving them pretty tight coverage. Like, what do you do in that case? That's where we excel at the game of flag football.
Yeah, and NFL Daily listeners know we love defense on this show. Like we geek out over it consistently, and it's a safe space to talk about defense, unlike a lot of places. But I'm curious from an offensive schematic perspective, like what is different that you're seeing now for people who don't know? Obviously, a lot of the skill guys play both sides of the line of scrimmage, offense and defense. But I'm curious, what's different now? What are you seeing now as teams maybe improve, or what do you guys do that works in your offensive schemes?
So that's a great question. So what we've seen, the game changing, is you got to plan for 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the field at the same time, which is something
it's a nightmare.
you really don't see it. You really don't see in traditional football, right? So we got to plan. We got to identify who the quarterbacks are. Like, for example, Mexico always has 2 quarterbacks in the field, right? First one receives the snap. The second one drops back where they can, receive a throwback, and then they become the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be prepared for all of it. That's what the offenses are doing. Even us, we have 2 quarterbacks a lot. With Pablo, we have Pablo, Nico, and Hoosh that all play quarterback. And sometimes all 3 are in the field at the same time. So other countries are doing that. So we have to, on a defensive side, we come up with rules on what happens when another quarterback drops back. And actually in those videos you'll see where I made a horrible defensive play call and Jaden Daniels threw a touchdown on us.
This is the kind of humility that we don't often have on this show, is that you guys are showing us what went right and what went wrong and how you're fixing it, which we love that. It's a great guest move. It's like we love the humility there. You don't have to have it. This is a dynasty we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I've got an idea for you. If everyone's going 3 quarterbacks, let's go 4.
Let's go.
I don't know if you guys ever saw that Onion article of
And
just
then we
like
do-
adding the razors on. It's like if
four
they're going-
quarterbacks and 2 verts.
Right.
That. We
that
saw
is insane because you have to just in your nightmares think about, well, you get there at the Olympics. Hopefully, you guys you're there. You're realizing this dream in the Olympics, and there's a world where some country out there comes up with just some kind of crazy schematic advantage early in that tournament that you guys have to adjust to, that you maybe had never seen before. And that, to me, is what's really cool about the sport. It's such a new sport where you guys are learning, and you're also, do you have a day job right now?
Yes, I do.
You do. And so it's a lot, and that's typical of a lot of Olympians. It's not rare for Olympians, but it sort of harkens back to like when, traditional football was just starting out. Like
Merlin Olsen, L.A. Ram, was an actor and worked at a car wash.
Right.
You know? Like-
All the Packers are, everyone's got like off-season jobs and everything. So have you allowed yourself to dream, about a world where maybe y'all didn't even need to have day jobs, but also have you let yourself dream about what that's going to be like in a couple of years to try to get to that Olympic stage?
I think about it a lot. I'm like, okay, my biggest thing is, what do I have to do to make sure I'm there first and foremost?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a goal of mine now that ever since that came into conversation, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, my son who looks up to me, he's my best friend, and he's always like rooting and cheering me on. So I think it'll be pretty cool for him to see his dad, host up a gold medal. So that's extra motivation. Like, I really, really want to do it now. But I think about it quite often. I'm like, I know personally, like, what it's gonna take to prepare. Like, I know what it's gonna take to prepare. And having a job, can that get in the way? Yes, but as an adult, we have to be really good at time management. We have to manage our time. We have 24 hours to do the best we can, right? We can only do so much. My biggest thing is you can have an excuse or you can get it done. I'm a very black and white person. My fiance hates this about me, but I don't know how else to see the world, right? Because you can either get something done or you don't. At the end of the day, did you get something done? Did you get it done? Right? So I try to get in where I can fit in. Like I try to train as much as I can, but like you said, in a couple years, if there's an opportunity that rises for the sport that allows us a little bit more leisure time to get some more training and preparation and stuff in, I would love that.
I have one question I'm sure that you guys have thought about a lot. You guys are ambassadors for this sport globally, really. But there's also there's only going to be one first-time gold medal winner of this first-time Olympics, right? How do you balance that ambassadorship? Like, how do you carry that? And you guys have kids. Both of you guys have kids that look up to you and are going to be old enough to remember this, like you mentioned. And what is it like to walk in that space when what's in front of you is such an uncharted territory still?
Yeah, so we are ambassadors of the game, right? All of us, we're trying to help grow the game in different countries, right? So we're pretty much helping our competition get better, because we do want the game to grow. We want it to get bigger, and then obviously we're all looking towards that gold medal, and it's tough because we all get opportunities to go to other countries and help start programs, while thinking about, well, we're helping these guys out. It's going to be our competition in 2028. So yeah, it's really It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see once some of the smaller countries, now that it's Olympic sport and they get funding from their Olympic body and their sport, on how they're going to grow and just keep getting better. And you talked about, plays and cool plays. I mean, every time we play Japan, they bring out something cool I've never seen before.
He's actually about to take a trip there, so maybe he can do some advanced scouting for you.
Yeah, tell me where they're practicing, and I'll like put my iPhone.
He's also a Patriots fan, so you don't want to be too serious about sending him off to take a look at other teams' practice.
I could see them getting very into flag. I could see it.
Oh, China's invested a lot right now, but Japan, to me, has the most creative playbook that I've had to coach against.
Wow,
is Japan. And it's all of their athletes are smaller and very quick, so they've designed an offense exactly to their skill sets.
It's like ball movement heavy, or
a lot of ball movement.
Yeah, okay.
With a side snap, so you don't have to snap it directly to the quarterback. You can snap it to the receiver in the slot on either side, right? So they'll snap it. They'll do like a side snap to a receiver in the slot. The quarterback comes around, gets a pitch. The original center is now running a wheel. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Gosh.
When
that must be fun for you to think about. Yeah,
Japan's one of my favorite teams.
Why is that?
Just it's like I love challenges. I don't know, maybe I'm just a defensive mindset, but I do not like seeing the same things over and over and over again. I like I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Problem solving against it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I like to, dig into my brain, like, okay, how can we get this figured out? And they do a really good job at, just always keep you guessing. I think that makes the game a little bit more fun. And they are trying to beat us. Like, I love getting the best of a team. I love that. Like, that's one of the things I love about playing with USA. You're gonna get the best of every team that plays you because they really, really want to beat you. And Japan just always brings it, and it's always something new and exciting, like Coach says. And I think me, just as a defensive player, I just love that. Like, a lot of people are like, man, I don't know if I want to play those guys. They get nervous, but I get excited. I don't know. It's just a competitor in me, I guess.
I mean, that's what makes, to me, watching the sport great. And sometimes it's been a weakness with the NFL is when you get a little too copycat. If you can get as much schematic diversity, and you're seeing it right now in the World Cup being played in just a few hours here across the street, that's what makes it exciting, is seeing all the different styles. So yeah, I can imagine, man, if they ever made that like a high school sport or something in Japan. I've seen my buddy was a basketball coach there, and his whole team's just doing the practice without the coaches even saying anything. I was like, this is a high school team? This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I hope that our listeners, I know you guys are going to tape these video segments, which everyone should really check out, because I think they're going to be really interested in the X's and O's. But I hope our listeners feel a little more connected now to USA football. I do too, that now we're rooting on Mike Daniels. We're gonna be celebrating when you make the team. And then hopefully when we're covering the Olympics, I want to be covering.
Yeah,
flag
can you
football.
guys put in a good
Yeah,
word?
Got it.
We'll
We'd
have
like-
to ask our bosses
We'd like to
go
be
cover it.
credentialed.
That would be someone so that they have sort of a point of contact, a connection of be like, we're rooting for him and we're also rooting for Rudy Fernandez, defensive coordinator, coach here of the USA national team. Appreciate you guys joining the show. And I'll let you guys do the hard work here with Jourdan, getting in front of the videos. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great.
All right. For NFL Daily, like I said, keep an eye out on those videos. This was a special show. Thank you, Jourdan, for everything
I
you
love
did
this.
to get it going. I love it. And it won't be the last time we ever talk about flag, that's for sure. But this was kind of our intro to flag. More in this space coming. And more NFL Daily shows coming later this week. Patrick Claybon and I will be covering the end of minicamp season on Tuesday. We'll see you then.